Hi everyone, this is Aaron in the edit. I'm probably going to pop this in at the beginning and the end of the episode just so nobody misses it. We are planning on doing a bonus content live stream on twitch.tv/Tyria now on Wednesday, September 25th. That should be 2 days after this goes up. We'll be doing some of the endgame quests for Prophecies. So if you want to check that out, we'll probably be doing some of the Titan quests. Go ahead and stop by twitch.tv/Tyria now. Give us a follow so you'll know when it goes live and you'll be able to hang out with us while we do that. So that's September 25th. That's a Wednesday. It's going to be at 7 p.m. Pacific time and 10 p.m. Eastern time. Go ahead and give us a follow there, and we will see you at the live stream. See you guys. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Tyria Then, episode 18, or one might say episode 1 of Factions.
Factions, yes.
We've arrived in Cantha. We're playing Factions, guys. Last episode, episode 17, we finished up Prophecies. And I think it was good, right, Miko?
Yeah, it was a good time.
Yep, Miko is
back. We got to
back.
visit with her. Yeah, I'm back. Hi, everyone.
And, we did get to visit with everyone from the campaign at the end, didn't we?
Yes.
So,
we did.
just for the people who don't like Prophecies and are showing up specifically for Cantha, just recap them on Prophecies.
So, in Prophecies, we meet the Ascalonians, King Adalburn and his son Rorik. Their kingdom gets attacked by Char in a ritual called the Searing. And
big cat people.
Big cat people. And that sends them into a quandary of what we should do. Should we defend our homeland? Should we ally ourselves with other nations to fight the Char or go to safety? And father and son have differing views. Father says, let's fight. We can take on these cats. Son's like, well, I think we should get some allies and maybe gives our people some peace. And so we follow the sun because, I don't know.
Well, because we're the flame seeker, so we follow the sun.
Yeah.
So, sun's on fire.
Right. And so
you mean Prince Rurik, right?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. I thought that was a flame seeker meme, and it was a Prince Rurik. Now you've
That's
turned it into
good.
it into a pun, and now I feel terrible.
I think you turned it into a pun, but that was a good one.
I did, yeah.
It's all right. So we follow Rurik out into Cryta. We cross the Shiver Peak Mountains. I was about to say the snowy mountains from Lord of the Rings. But we cross the Shiver Peak Mountains, and we lose our prince along the way. And end up in Cryta, where immediately we are thrust into their own political shenanigans, and we befriend some people who think that they're our friends, or who we think they are our friends. Turns out they're not. Then we come up with another group that tells us, no, the first group, the White Mantle, are bad guys. We're the Shining Blade. We're the true heroes. And so then we follow them for a while. They get betrayed, decimated, and then we follow some other guy with the cheesy mustache and the twirly goatee that you would think we would be cotton onto, that he's the bad guy.
Little Thom, yeah, he's the bad guy of Gildor's Prophecies. Little Tom is the main villain.
So Vizier Kilbron is the guy who gets to tell us that, no, you must come and follow me. And we follow him because Avenia tells us to, and she tells us that he's a good guy. He's not. But we don't find this out until the end, unless you're paying attention to all of the little hints along the way that something might be up with him.
Yeah.
And we end up getting to the Ring of Fire, where we finally find out that Vizier Kilbron has kind of been plotting this thing all along. He's actually an undead lich. And he wants to destroy the world with his mwahaha newfound powers, and we have to stop him.
Unfortunately, there's no problem that cannot be solved in Tyria by hitting it with a sword very hard.
Yes. And that we cannot actually take care of because we are the chosen one.
Yeah, because the Lich succeeds in his plans, but we just hit him with a sword, and that fixes it.
Yep.
So yeah, Prophecies. Of course, there's a lot more detail than that recap, but we're keeping it brief because we want to dive into Factions, guys.
Yes, there's a good romp.
Yes. So Prophecies was the first released story campaign for Guild Wars. Is essentially the base game, right?
Yes.
And then an expansion pack comes out about 6 months later in like early 2006 called Factions, Guild Wars Factions. Yes. And they released, so where do we start with Factions? It's kind of anime pilled, right? It's very centered around Asian culture. It's kind of an amalgamation of different Asian cultures, kind of all mashed together.
Yes.
Whether you think that's okay or not is like kind of beside the point. It just is what it is, right?
Right. Yep.
And they released, so they did this for Prophecies as well, and we were going to talk about it, and then we didn't. They released kind of these CGI marketing trailers for both campaigns. They released a Prophecies one before Prophecies came out, and then when Factions came out, they did one for Factions as well. We wanted to talk about this in episode 1, and we didn't, so we're bringing them both up now.
Yes.
Did you watch both the Prophecies and the Factions CGI trailers?
I did.
Let's talk about the Prophecies one. How do you feel about this? How well do you think this cinematic markets the Guild Wars Prophecies game?
So I had not realized that it wasn't a trailer that was ever really quite released out. It was included with the box set edition.
Would it play when you booted up the game, or did you have to like play it?
I'm not sure because I didn't own the box set. I always had the game as a digital download.
Okay. Yeah, same.
So, yeah, that was what I watched the WP video, because Wooden Potatoes likes to give us some deep dives and context, which is always really helpful. So it's kind of low res, which is the thing that people always point out, that it was included in the thing, but it's really low resolution. And as a trailer that gives you an idea of what story you're coming up on, it doesn't really do a good job because none of it really is lore accurate. It's sort of a mishmash.
Yeah, compared to the Factions trailer, which is literally the plot of the game, the Prophecies trailer has like nothing to do with anything.
No, it's sort of just a mishmash, an amalgamation of things.
It's also highly misrepresentative of things you can do in the game.
Yes.
Like, Devona has 2 swords in this trailer. You cannot do that in the game.
No, she wields and she wields a hammer in the game, so that you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was kind of cool that you at least get to see Devona and Sin and Aiden, so 3 of the gang, as we called them, in the Prophecies playthrough. And you see creatures that might be what became in the game, some ghouls or gargoyles, an executioner, a bone dragon. And the executioner wields the Scepter of War, which is not what happens either.
Yeah, I noticed that he's got so there's a shot of him with the Scepter of Ore, which is obviously not accurate, and it's very obviously an executioner from the game. We talked about the executioners; they look like the cave trolls from Return of the King. Go watch it if you haven't. And I think the little creatures are very clearly the grasping ghouls.
Yes.
And then the bone dragon is obviously the bone dragon.
Yes.
And then the executioner, he at some point doesn't he have an axe and a flail at some point as well?
I think so. Yeah, it's very, very not. Yes, he has that intro where he comes in, you see his feet, and he drops a thing like a spiked ball, and I'm like, the whole thing really just gives me a lot of like Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings trilogy.
I didn't like.
Flavor.
I don't think there is a flail in the entirety of the Guild Wars franchise. Like not in Guild Wars 1, not in Guild Wars 2. I don't think there are any flails. So still undelivered promise 19 years later.
Yeah, but it was just, for the time for when it was created and knowing what had been out on the popular culture market at the time, that they were kind of leaning into that we're going to try to give you some feeling of epicness by referencing visually somewhat something that had an epic feel.
Lord
of the Rings, like the whole bridge fight on the bridge, it felt very Mines of Moria to me.
Oh yeah, with all the lava, like the lake of lava and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And it's very clear that they're trying to do a Blizzard cinematic.
Yes,
that's what they're going for, is the whole Blizzard cinematic thing.
They tried.
Yeah, this one, the Prophecies one, when like things are, the combat looks good, like, because the whole cinematic is pretty much just the gang fighting undead enemies. That's the whole thing, and the fighting looks okay. But if you look at their faces, the facial animations, so bad.
Yeah, they're very low investment, I would say.
Yeah, it's not good. There's a little bit of narration from Devona as well. Her classic, like, my father fought in the Guild Wars. And then you just see him killing undead things. Sin casts a meteor shower. It's pretty cool. Aiden is just like whipping arrows off. It's great.
Legolas style, I might add.
Very
with the quiver that never empties.
Yes, absolutely. As the quiver never does in the Guild Wars games. That is game accurate.
Yes.
And we'll find out a little more about firing arrows in Guild Wars when we get into our gameplay from me.
Yeah. And then the thing too, which if you're not a follower of a variety of content creators, maybe you are, maybe you have never heard of Wooden Potatoes, but I feel that maybe our audience does know who WP is. He actually worked with a Redditor. I don't know if you know this. He worked with a Redditor to create a CGI remastered Prophecies trailer, where they upscaled it, or the Redditor did. Did you know about this?
I did not. No, that just sounds like it would like high resolution how bad the facial animations are.
Resolutioned it so that you can actually see a little bit more detail. One of the frequent comments that you see about it is people saying, "Well, it looks kind of dark," because it did make it a bit darker.
And all the lines are very like soft and blurry.
Yeah,
it's like blurred almost.
It does look. I will just say that the remastered looks pretty badass.
Oh, that's good. I enjoy that they're able to upgrade it a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe so it matches up to the Factions one a little bit more.
A little bit. They were trying to go for something that looks a little bit better.
Because in comparison, the Factions trailer looks super good. Like visually, it's the graphics are just better, right? All the textures are very detailed. The resolution is proper. And the Factions one, I think the Factions trailer should play when you start the game Factions.
It really
because
should.
The opening cutscene to Guild Wars Factions sucks.
It doesn't tell you anything of the context of what you're walking into. It's
so bad. And this CGI trailer for Factions is really good. It gives you the entire backstory of the whole game. And
I think to date it is still the sexiest CGI trailer ArenaNet have ever made.
It's very cool, yeah. So the Faction CGI trailer essentially sets up the whole backstory of a guy named... I don't even know if it names any characters, but it tells the story visually that we'll find out in the game. I don't think saying that this guy's name is Shiro Tagachi is a spoiler.
No.
I think we find out about this pretty quickly. And he essentially assassinated the Emperor at a harvest festival thing. And and then he got killed by like a group of people, and it set off like a nuclear bomb that turned the ocean into solid jade and petrified an entire forest. Yep. And that's the world that our character is entering into. Imagine if you knew that starting the game.
Yeah. Well, because the world that we enter into is that 200 years later.
Yes, yeah, it's 200 years after the fact.
And so, having that background is to like, here's what happened in the past, because you don't really, you're walking when you walk into, Xingje Monastery, basically, you don't get any sense that something is wrong. Everything looks pretty idyllic.
And there's some good profession showcasing in the trailer. Like, I don't think there's any dialogue in the trailer at all.
No.
But like when the assassin character comes in and like disarms Shiro, her like flashing magic is like purpley pink, like all the assassin skills are.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a nice touch. So yeah, the Factions CGI trailer, very, very good. A lot better than the Prophecies one, and super accurate to what's in the game.
Yeah.
So big fan of the Factions one, and I totally think it should play. Whereas I don't think the Prophecies one should play before the game because it's not representative. The Factions one is, and it contextualizes really well, so it totally should play when you start a character.
Yeah, and then unlike the opening cinematic in Prophecies, which has some narration voiceover to give you some context, the one opening cinematic for Factions also doesn't have. It has like subtitles, but there was no like voiceover.
Yeah,
I fucking remembered that.
So I was actually, because I hadn't started a new Factions-based character since I made an assassin on my main account like 15 years ago, right? So I was like unsure what to expect here. I was like, let's be better than Prophecies. Will this be worse than Prophecies?
Yeah.
I think Prophecies has a better opening cinematic than Factions does.
I would agree.
Because there's voiceover, first of all, in the Prophecies one, and it gives you context for the world you're entering into.
Right.
And this basically just says 200 years since the Jade Wind remade Cantha, which is gibberish to us, right?
Right.
If it was coming after that cutscene, that would make sense.
Right. If we had seen the trailer, the CGI trailer, yep.
Yeah. And it says the Empire of the Dragons still needs heroes. Canthans train at Xingye Monastery to learn from Master Togo, a ritualist, and he is described as Cantha's greatest hero. Quote.
Yeah.
And that's what happens after we made a character. Now, what character did you make?
So I made a ritualist.
I made an assassin.
Awesome.
What is important about these two professions?
They're unique to Factions.
Yes, they are new with the Factions campaigns. You can't make a ritualist or an assassin in Prophecies. You can port your characters from campaign to campaign once you get to the main city in each campaign. But you cannot have their I cannot create an origin assassin or ritualist in Prophecies. And I don't think you can do it in Nightfall either. I think if you're going to be assassin ritualist, you have to create it in Factions.
Correct. Yeah.
And the same goes for the Dervish and the Paragon in Nightfall. It must be created in Nightfall.
Yep.
So I like this. I think this is good because it will encourage people to experience the opening parts of the different campaigns. Because the campaign is very different if you port a character into it. You come in about halfway through the story. Yeah. So I like doing this one. I'm glad we decided to make the new characters. What did you name your ritualist character?
So I named her Miko. Seide, because Seide is sort of a play on Spirit Wielder.
Okay. I like this. So, this is good.
I was going to go with like Miko the ritualist, and I was like, that's so not me. Let's try Miko something. Something flavor.
Yours is much more creative than mine. Mine is a male assassin, and his name is Aaron 2.
I was going to ask you if you named him Aaron again.
I did, yes. So Aaron 2 is alive and well on Xingye Island.
Or did you have to like spell it out?
So I did AYERON again, and then just IL. Because that's how you have to do it when you're naming characters in these games. Yeah, you can't do two capital I's. It must be capital IL if you want to do the second.
That's so lame.
It is. Yeah, no, it's a lame name, but I'm committed.
That's okay. No, I mean the name is fine. I'm just that you have to like change the character style. Anyways, whatever. Yes. Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah. So once we get those created, and mine's just like I didn't fiddle around too long in the character creator. The Guild Wars 1 character creator, not that extensive, right? I picked a face and I
picked a hair color.
Did you get? And I picked a hairstyle. Yeah, I've got like a ponytail.
Oh, look at that!
Does he have a headband? I think I might have a headband or something.
Yeah, that's very assassiny. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I might have done something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's good stuff. And then I thrust my character out into the world, where apparently I am training to be a hero under Master Togo at the Xingye Monastery.
Yes, Master Togo, who, when they show him on screen for the first time, strikes a very I'm a badass pose.
He does, yeah. He has a bit of a pose, which, because I think he's supposed to be kind of a humble guy, so it doesn't add up so much.
No.
But once it puts us into the game, it's kind of an orientation segment. We're walking with Togo and a few other recruits to the monastery. Now, the people we're walking with are Lucas, Taya, and Yijo Tan. Are these the people that were in your instance as well?
No, I had Kisai and Mai, I should say.
Must be random.
Yeah, Elementalist and Assassin.
But Yijo's there, right?
Yijo, yes, but then he like disappears.
Yeah, he's supposed. I think because he's like already a student. That he's like Togo's number one boy. He's like his golden boy.
Right. Right.
He's like an apprentice ritualist to Master Togo. We find that out a little later.
Yeah.
But yeah, he scampers off, and then we walk up with whatever henchmen spawned in with you. Spoiler alert: the people we walk to the monastery with become the henchmen.
Yes.
And they have like a conversation, but I missed a lot of it because it wasn't in the dialogue box.
No, it's not in the. Well, some of it gets captured in the dialogue box, but a lot of it just gets captured.
Above the characters' heads.
Above the on screen, and then it isn't until you have finished, if you've played through the tutorial little quest, then they keep talking and none of that shows. Well, that actually, no, I lied. That I think does show up in the dialogue box, but if you walk away, it doesn't show up on screen anymore. So I kind of had to I was trying to capture it to see what they were saying, and they were basically just trying to encourage one another. Do you think we're really ready for this? You're gonna be fine. That kind of thing.
Yeah, like your typical nervous newbies. The nervous newbies chat.
Yes, that's very good.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we enter the monastery with them, and we get the option for basic instruction from instructor Ning. Mm-hmm. Yes. NG. I don't know how to pronounce that. If anyone does, please let me know in the comments.
Yeah.
But I opted out since it's clearly just like learn how to play Guild Wars if you haven't played Guild Wars before, and I'm already familiar. Yes,
I opted to play through the tutorial so that we could capture some footage of it.
How was that?
The podcast. It was excruciatingly long and boring.
Was it really long?
It was kind of long.
Oh no!
It probably felt long because I know what I'm doing, but it does do a better job, I find, of explaining the mechanics. Like if you've not played through Prophecies, I felt like it did a better job of setting up here's how you move, here's how you do this, here's what the res shrine is. It just does a better explanation of things than I felt like Prophecies did.
Yeah, Prophecies tutorialization, there's some tooltips, and then there's you'll get a quest from a guy, and the guy will literally say in the quest dialogue, press M to open your map.
Right, and all of that kind of hints or whatever is just dialogued out through this quest called Manted Hatchlings from Instructor Ning.
Manted Hatchlings from Instructor Ning sounds like the name of a B movie.
I know.
And it's a movie I don't think I want to see.
Yeah.
Once you finish that, do you just go to the monastery?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're in the monastery, and are you level 2 by now, or are we still just level 1?
I believe it was level 2.
Gotcha. Okay, I think I'm level 1 still, and I have to seek out. I have to talk to Headmaster Lee, to become an assassin. Apparently, being an assassin, like a professional murderer, is like a respectable and accepted profession in Cantha.
Yes,
it's like normal to be like I'm an assassin.
Right. It's like I'm a ninja, I'm a samurai, I'm a warrior.
Yeah. It's bizarre. We'll talk about the quests I have to do. The whole outlook on where the assassin fits into Canthan society is bizarre. But yeah, since I'm an assassin, I need to go talk to Headmaster Lee. She's like a badass lady who has things for me to do. Who do you have to go talk to as a ritualist?
I have to go speak with Headmaster Quinn.
What was Headmaster Quinn like? What did he have you go do?
She. They, yes. No, it's a she. She gets identified as she. She wants us to go and locate another guy, Professor Guy, or Gay, Gai.
Guy, I want to say.
Yeah, Guy, yeah. To continue begin your training in the ritualist arts. She basically tells you that the spirits tell me that you're ready. Because ritualists summon spirits. That's their whole shtick.
Mm-hmm. And it's not the same as nature spirits, which are nature rituals. Ritualist spirits are kind of a lot more combat friendly. Mm-hmm. They're more combat spirits, whereas nature spirits with rangers are you summon this outside of combat beforehand. With ritualists, you like summon your spirits in battle.
Yes, in battle, they do fight with you, and they are chained. For the most part, they're all chained.
They're stationary, yeah. And you like, what does the model look like for the spirits?
They're kind of tall and translucent, kind of turquoisey color, blue, if you want to call it that. And
yeah, like a teal.
Teal, thank you. That's a better color. And they have chains on them to show that they have been chained. So basically what it is that they are sealed. They're essentially the sealed souls of past warriors.
Yeah, it's cool. Like, what are the skills? Some of the skills have, because I think, what ones do you start out with? Pain?
Painful bond. Painful bond. That's a hex spell. Pain is the first spirit binding ritual that you get.
And that just, like, does damage.
Yes. Yeah,
and it's kind of
good early damage skill.
Yeah, and like spirit ritualists are really strong. They have a good place in like the comp meta. Like I never leave without one on my main account.
Spirit spammers are awesome, which is exactly what I'm going to become.
And there's enough different spirits across like the different attributes to where you can have 2 spirit spammers with completely different builds in your party, so that they're not cannibalizing each other.
Right, because you can have spirits that help. Boost healing. You can have spirits that do just damage. You can have spirits that will cast some like protection on people. So you've got some versatility with ritualists.
Yeah, when you like I'm a fan of creating like summoning classes. So like my hero comp that I use on my main account is like a Signet of Spirits, Spirit Spammer, a Signet of Ghostly Might, Spirit Spammer, and then a Soul Twisting, like, healing Spirit Ritualist. Yeah. I go so hard on, like, the Spirit Ritualist game. And then a Minion Necro to boot. Yeah. Just because my army wasn't big enough.
Right.
It's really fun. Ritualist is a super fun class.
Yeah.
I think it's more fun and interesting than the Assassin, which is kind of why I'm playing the Assassin class with a little bit of a spin on it for this playthrough. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Okay.
But what did they have you go do?
So Professor Guy, he has us go and look for. We need to clean up basically. A mess left by necromancers. We've got to clean up and kill some bone minions, basically. Wild minions is what they're called. And you just have to kill like 5 of them. And he's like, "Great, you're ready. Now you go and talk to somebody else."
I did the same quest just with Jinzo, who is a apprentice of Headmaster Lee. Jinzo is a weird guy.
Yeah.
He says that he was, quote, born an assassin in a family of monks.
yes, I talked to him later on, but yes.
He says the line, quote, "I was born a killer." He believes killing is a sacred duty, whereas Headmaster Lee has 2 apprentices, Jinzo and Panaku. And Jinzo does not like Panaku because he says Panaku takes too much pleasure in killing.
Yeah.
Already we're going down a really weird road.
Yeah.
With this assassin storyline.
I know.
Yeah, so these are the 2 guys I gotta hang out with, and Jinzo has me kill the 5 minions as well. It's absurdly easy.
Yeah.
My starting skills suck. Yeah. I get Unsuspecting Strike, which does extra damage if the enemy is above 90% HP. It also costs 10 energy. It's very not viable to use as because it's a lead attack. Right. Assassins have this thing where you have to chain your attack skills. You got lead attacks. I don't know what the next one is called. And dual attacks. Like lead attack, follow-up attack for, I don't remember what the actual term is.
Right.
And then a dual attack that you kind of end the chain on. And yeah, Unsuspecting Strike, way too much energy to be like spammable, which is the whole point of daggers. Assassins, their whole deal is using daggers as a weapon. And don't like Unsuspecting Strike. Ditch that as soon as possible.
Good.
And then I also get a throwy dagger thing that does earth damage. It's
that's wild. I hadn't forgotten about that.
Yeah, the dancing daggers, I think it's called.
Yeah.
And it's not a good skill either. It's bad. It's a little bit better than Unsuspecting Strike because it costs less energy. And then I get Shadow Refuge, which is just health regen, which is good. That's fine. Yes. I'll take that. And then I think the rest of my skills that I got, I unlocked later. But yeah, not super great opening abilities for the assassin. I get a pair of starter daggers that does like 1 to 3 damage.
Yeah, they're bad.
So yeah, it was a little bit of a rough go starting out for Aaron the Second. Once you got done with the Slay the Minions quest, where did you head to?
So I had to go and track down Aang the Ephemeral.
I ran into that guy.
Yeah.
I was like, what an interestingly named NPC. So I talked to him, and he was just like, "You're not a ritualist. Get out of here."
Yeah.
A little bit standoffish.
And he is, when you run into him, you're like, I can see from your expression that you're not, I'm not what you expected. And what you expect, his name ought to have told you, Ephemeral. He is a ghost.
Yes. Which we're very used to from Prophecies, talking to ghosts. Yes. Yeah. My current character probably isn't, but me as a player, I'm like, yes, ghosts run shit in Tyria.
Yep. Yep.
And what did he have you do?
So he had you fight some spirits. They're the souls of some bandits that he had sealed into objects years ago so that the envoys could come and collect them. But strangely, they never did.
What are the envoys?
So the envoys are shepherds of... What?
Does he tell you what they are, or do you have to... No, does he just drop that?
He just drops that, boom, and I'm just like, envoys, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm a Guild Wars player. I know that term is important, so I went and wikied. Yes, but envoys are shepherds of the souls of the dead.
And they're kind of a Canthan thing. They're not
kind of a Canthan thing.
Yeah, so just to briefly contextualize, Cantha is another continent that's to the south of Tyria across the ocean. So we're in a completely different part of the world from the Prophecies campaign. And like we discussed before, Cantha is kind of modeled after East Asia. Yes.
And the wiki tells us that there are 5 known envoys, one of whom is involved in the plotline of, or major plotline of factions, which is Shiro.
Yes.
Yes. So the envoys never showed up, so he's like, hey, I've got some spare spirits hanging out here, you want to kill them? And you do. And then he's like, cool. You're going to make a fine ritualist one day. And I'm like, thanks.
Yes. And when you... so when we get to Xingzhe Monastery, we kind of glossed over it, but you can like run around the city. It's a city. It's like the Ascalon city of factions. Xingzhe Monastery. It's the starter city. I kind of ran around the city and did a talk to people. Did you do a talkie-walkie?
A little bit, but not as much, because I did a lot of quests. So I was like, just gotta get through these quests.
Yeah, Miko did a psychotic thing that I didn't do. That we'll talk about in a little bit. I did run through the city a little bit. I noticed that some of the trainers are kind of wacky. Like Headmaster Kuju, the Necro trainer, she looks homeless. She's like wearing a burlap sack and she's got like one eye. It's wild. And Headmaster Vang, I think he's the Elementalist guy. He's the Orion of this game.
Totally, like, everybody's like, yeah, that guy's so full of himself.
Yeah, he says he's the youngest headmaster, that he scored perfectly on all his exams, and that he, quote, smote the bog beast of Boku.
Right.
He uses the word smote.
He did, yeah.
Yeah, he's a character.
And when you go and talk to the trainers down the line for the elementalist, they're like, that guy's so full of himself. He's like the worst elementalist ever. I don't know who he paid off to like get his position.
Master Togo promoted him. What?
Yeah.
I don't know what else there is to say. There's a lady hanging around in the town square called Yazo Ying, and she wants to be a ritualist, but she's jealous of Yijo Tan because he's Togo's favorite. And there is, of course, a man by the gate named Ludo, and he has a quest that teaches you how to party up with the henchmen, which is nice.
Yes.
I like this because you can get the quest done by partying with henchmen, and you don't need to party with a player like you do the one in Prophecies.
In Prophecies, yep.
There's also these tablets of wisdom that are scattered all about, and they're literally just, you click on them and they have game tutorials. Yeah. I thought they were going to have, like, lore. And I clicked on them and I'm like, oh, it just tells me to press K to look at my skills. Yeah. Disappointed in the tablets of wisdom. I only read a few before I was like, okay, I'm not reading all these.
Yeah. Some of them should explain kind of like profession, like mechanics and whatnot. And I was like, okay, I can't. Yeah. But thank you for being around.
Yeah. So I kind of wandered around the city. It's a very pretty city. Xingje Island, which is like the greater island that is sort of similar to pre-Searing Ascalon, except it's actually part of the game. It's kind of the Ascalon of Cantha. It's the starter few zones. It's a very pretty place. It's got like rolling green hills. There's like trees with cherry blossoms. Very like Japanese inspired. Yes. Lots of dark stone with red wood architecture. It's real neat. All the guards have like cool armor with like dragons on them because the Empire is... The Empire of the Dragon. Yes, the Empire is called the Empire of the Dragon. The flavor is very neat. I enjoy it. The music's really like tranquil and pleasant. Yes. Good music over here in Factions. And there's like statues of like dragon tiger things. It's great. Lions. Yeah. Yeah, it's fantastic. So I'm having a good time in Factions in Xingje. How about you?
Yeah, same. I really enjoy the vibe of the city. It's Factions has always been kind of like my favorite campaign. I really enjoy Cantha.
It's a favorite for Cantha. A lot of people.
Yeah, and so I was really waiting for Cantha to show back up in Guild Wars 2, and it's sort of ironic that I still haven't finished End of Dragons campaign or expansion.
I have finished End of Dragons several times. I have not paid attention to any of the story in it. I'm saving paying attention for when we play it for the show.
Yes. We'll get there.
Yes, we will get there. Right now we're back in the good old days in Cantha.
That's right.
When you were running around out in the world, so Sunqua Vale is the first adjacent explorable area. It is the lakeside county of Factions. And it's just like green hills and cherry blossoms and nice little well-kept buildings, right? It's nice. Did you notice anything different about collectors in this game compared to Prophecies?
I mean, they're still out there collecting. They give you random stuff. Some of them will give you no, they're all the same. It's like weapons.
Something the collectors do in this game that they did not do in Prophecies is they all have dialogue that explains why they're collecting what they're collecting, and they have little stories.
No, I did not pay. I did not. It did. I ran a lot of quests, so a lot of this ran over my head. I was like, "What do you have?" And I just skipped past it.
I don't need to. Like, now that I have money on my account from playing on Prophecies, I do not need collectors anymore. Like, I immediately bought armor and a better weapon upon spawning. I did as well. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not doing the collector thing again, but I will be talking to collectors just to see what they have to say. Yeah. Because some of it's very interesting there, and some of them like interact with each other. Like there's a collector that's a writer and he needs some manted pincers for a quill, and then there's another collector that is also looking for the same manted pincers because he wants to sell a quill to that collector. And he's like, this weirdo doesn't write with a brush, he writes with a quill. What a weirdo, right?
That's hilarious.
It's great. Yeah, this guy named Merrick Curry. He says he's the famed author of 10,000 Tears of the Empress.
Okay.
Yeah, and he needs manted pincers for a quill to write with. It's great.
You know, that's good flavor, though. You know, I'll
It
have to
is.
go pay attention to the collectors now.
Yeah, there's a lady named Deborah Curie outside Xingje, and has this whole thing about needing naga hides because she makes exotic furniture and she needs to upholster it.
Wow. Yeah, see, I was just like, what are you collecting and what are you going to give me? And I didn't even pay attention to what she was telling me.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic.
That's great.
Yeah, so, you'll see these collectors dotted about as you run around doing your quests. My next quest after chit-chatting with Jinzo was that I needed to track down Panaku. Because I got to train with Panaku now.
Right.
He was. Where did you find Aang the Ephemeral?
Out in Pangjang Peninsula.
I had to go to Kinya Province to find Panaku, and so I'm like level 3.
He's a hike out there, yeah.
He is, yeah. I went through. So instead of going through Sume Village, which is near the bottom of Sangwa Vale, I went around the top through the mountains, and that takes you directly to Kinya Province and near where Panaku is. But it's still a bit of a hike. And I'm
is it a super hike?
Yeah, and I'm like
level 3.
Yeah, I'm like level 3 or 4 at this point. And when you spawn in, you're like, all the enemies are like level 7. So I kind of gotta wend my way through without fighting anything to get to Panaku.
Yeah.
And he's kind of at this little village in Kinya Province. One thing that's bizarre about Panaku's appearance is he has pure white eyes with no pupils or irises.
Shut up, I never noticed that.
Yeah, his eyes are just white. And he's just supposed to be just a guy, right? But they went out of their way to make him look like evil. And he says that he kills for the thrill, the pleasure, and the gold. And that he remembers every kill. I think Panaku is like unapologetically a serial killer.
Yeah.
Panaku is evil. Change my mind.
Yeah, he likes to kill.
Yeah, I think he's a bad guy. Yeah, he's a bad dude. But I gotta do a quest for him because that's the game I'm playing.
So what did he want you to do?
Panaku has a contract with some people on the side. So he's doing some side work. Some shady side work that Headmaster Lee does not know about. And he offers to split it with me if I help him make the kill. He says Headmaster Lee would not approve.
Yeah.
I, of course, being the buffoon that I am, decide that this is a good idea. And I go and murder this random person with assassins are bad, guys. Assassins are bad people. This is the like cavalier attitude towards just like wanton murder that the story takes if you're an assassin is so bizarre. But yeah, I go with Panaku and I just help him like murder a Tengu.
Yeah. I played through this chain as well when I was doing the secondary profession quest and I was trialing them out and I was like, oh, okay. What did that do to us?
Like, this is super horrible.
Take him out.
Yeah, we go and we murder this Tengu called Swift Honor Claw. Yes. He says his employer told him that the Tengu committed a crime, but that he doesn't ask questions. So that's what Panaku says. Panaku's like, yeah, don't ask a lot of questions. When we attack Swift, he says he's been expecting us, and what I did for my family. So immediately I feel bad. Right. And so in Cantha, we kind of only experienced hostile Tengu in Prophecies. In Cantha, there's like a shaky truce with the Tengu. And there's a little village of them called the Eyrie. How do you Erie? How do you pronounce this?
Eyrie, like where eagles and birds live.
Yeah, like a roost. Right.
A roost, yes.
Yeah, there's a whole village of them in Kinya Province, and I just go there and cold-blooded murder one of them.
Yep.
And Panaku's like, good job. So yeah, it's super bizarre. And he basically says what I did for my family, which is unsettling, because clearly there's more to the story, right? Panaku tells us that there were no witnesses, so if Headmaster Lee finds out, he'll, quote, know what happened. So he's like low-key threatening me, like, hey, don't blab. Spoiler alert, Headmaster Lee finds out anyway. And we don't really learn how she finds out. She just finds out.
I feel like Headmaster Lee has got his number.
Yeah. So since you did this too, did you have to do the follow-up to it as well?
I had to do... It was Dual Strike, right? Is the one we have to track down the Tengo?
Yep. Yeah, it's Dual Strike.
Yeah.
And then
so I did that, but I didn't have to go back to like Headmaster Lee or anything like that.
Oh my gosh. So there's a whole follow-up to this. This is...
really?
Yeah, this is crazy. There's a follow-up quest called Cleansing Steel.
Okay.
Headmaster Lee essentially finds out that we've murdered this guy.
Oh no.
And she says that Eri is mad that we killed Swift Honorclaw.
I mean...
she also goes, Panaku does this a lot. So... This is insane. Like, how does Panaku, like, still training at this monastery when he's just like, yeah, I casually murder people on the side sometimes. This is insane. I cannot wrap my brain around how, like, assassins slot into Canthan society. It's bizarre. So Togo's not expelling me from the monastery because they're like, hey, Panaku tricked you. He does this all the time with newbies. And I'm like, so why does he still work here?
Right, seriously.
So yeah, they're giving me a pass, but I do have to make amends. I have to take... So their solution is to take this, like, carving to Swift Honorclaw's daughter, Soar Honorclaw.
Right,
and I, the one who stuck a knife in her father, has to be the one to do this.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, this quest is already... Like, we're in episode 1 of Factions, and things have already gone off the rails.
Yeah.
And Soar says, so when I get there, so I have to take a hike all the way back up there. It's a long hike, and I have to go all the way back. I think I escorted a guy there when I was going there. There was like a tanner or something.
Right.
And he was just like, I'm going to the area, and I was like, so am I. I think he's a farmer. He's an agriculturalist. The quest is called The Agriculturalist. You literally just walk in there, and it's done.
Okay.
Something about setting up farming with I don't know. I was too preoccupied with this in like quest insanity.
There's a lot of like out in I think it's Pengjang Peninsula. There's a lot of those farming villages, and they're under threat.
Yeah.
By the Crimson Skull.
Yeah, there's a whole cutscene when you spawn into Pengjang Peninsula, where like the Crimson Skull is threatening this dude, and he's like, whatever, do your worst, and he like walks away. And I thought there'd be a quest ticket from him, but there isn't.
No, there is later on.
Later on.
I remember. I have memories of running into this every single time, and I'm like, where is this guy's quest so I can get rid of his dialogue every time I come in here?
Right, okay. I will keep an eye out for the follow-up to that, because that seems interesting. I take this figurine to Soar, Swift's daughter, and she says her father met with a merchant and had a disagreement with him, so the merchant hired Panaku to kill him. She will forgive us if we kill the merchant. I don't know if this is how this would actually play out.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, there's like a degree of callous insensitivity to this quest, and like a deep level of misunderstanding of how someone would feel if this actually happened.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a truly insane quest chain.
This is but it's super interesting. Like that they would give assassins this level of flavor and context.
Yeah, no, assassins are just like straight up evil. So I go and kill this merchant. She's like, I set up a meeting with him, you can jump him there. And he's like with some Crimson Skull guys, so he's like a bad dude, right? The Crimson Skull are like the local criminal gang. Think of them as like, in Ascalon you had the renegades, right? Or the bandits. The Crimson Skull are kind of that for Xingje. Once I do that, I kill that guy. She forgives us and states that Togo is one of the only people who deals with the Tengu honorably. How on earth does the monastery keep Panaku on as like an apprentice?
Yeah.
when he's off doing shit like this.
Yeah, it's baffling.
Yeah, no, Panaku's bad. He's like he's like chaotic evil. He's like a murderer who likes murdering. He does not have any scruples. He does not care if like the people he's murdering are good or bad. He's insane.
He takes pleasure in his profession.
Yeah, what a bizarre profession, and what a bizarre way of integrating the profession into the game for the player.
World, yeah.
Yeah, so weird. So that was my experience with becoming an assassin. How did you do with becoming a ritualist with Aang after he had you kill the spirits?
He just sends us back to Togo.
And like, that's when you do all the other profession quests.
Because then Togo's like, great, it's time for you to choose a secondary profession, and I was like, cool.
And you saw the big XP rewards for doing each profession quest, and you were like, I'm going to do all of these.
Oh, yeah, this is what I do when I hit factions. I'm like, okay, I'm going to, like, level up, because I know that the first, it's helpful if I can be around level 10. That's where I kind of, like, that's the marker that I have in my head whenever I try to hit the first mission. And I was like, if I can just eat up a bunch of quests, I'll get there, and it'll be cool. And so I did the masochistic thing that I always do, and I took every single secondary profession quest available.
Yeah, I saw that was an option, and I thought to myself, this seems like it would take a very long time.
Yes. And
so I decided to not do that.
Yeah, it took about 2 hours.
But as a result, because you get like 1,500 XP for each of those, what level are you now at the end of the whole deal?
For this playthrough, I'll level 11.
Okay, so like you guys can see the kind of accelerated leveling that they added into faction, because it's something we complained about it at first in Prophecies, but I actually think when all is said and done, I quite like the leveling pacing of Prophecies. Factions, because they probably got feedback from people about how slow the leveling is in Prophecies and how low the quest XP rewards are compared to how much you need to level. So they've dialed quest reward XP up to like 11 in factions. Every quest gives you like 1,500, 2,000 XP, 1,000. Whereas Prophecies quests, if it wasn't like a special quest, you got 500 XP, and that was that.
Yeah. Side quests and factions give you like 600, and then like the major kind of secondary quests will give you 1,500. The primary quest, I think, as well.
Yeah, and there's 2,000. Yeah, and there's some 2,000s, and that's for the Shinjay stuff. Once you get to the mainland, every quest is like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 XP.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
Yeah, so
very fast leveling.
Yeah, we'll be hitting level 20 a lot faster than we did in Prophecies. Because I'm level 8 by the end of this, but I did not do any of the other profession quests. I just did Assassin, and then I took Ranger as my second profession again, which I know is not very interesting considering I already did it, but I have an idea, and it's like kind of working already. And so we're kind of going to roll with it.
All right.
What second profession did you end up sticking with?
Mesmer.
Okay, so what's your plan? What's your plan for like Ritualist Mesmer? How's that going to go?
Hexing probably, and some like backfire for some spellcasters. So it's going to be kind of like I'm going to try to do some shutdown stuff, and actually do a little bit of more like self DPS rather than just relying on the spirits, even though I'm going to have like the spirit spamming going. I'll have at least some skills that let me do some damage.
Yeah,
so I figured that'd be a good thing.
Yeah, having the mesmer ability, like the domination abilities to really deal with enemy spellcasters is going to be super helpful in factions, because in factions bosses do double damage.
Yeah.
It's not a feature in Prophecies. It is a thing in factions in Nightfall and Eye of the North. So bosses are much more dangerous now.
Yep.
So like shutting down an elementalist is kind of a big deal.
Yep.
I am doing Assassin Ranger, and I am actually going to be playing the game with a bow. So
with the daggers?
Yes, I will be foregoing the daggers.
Whoa.
Yeah. Because I'm thinking I'm sitting here, right, like, if you're an assassin, the best way to kill somebody is from a distance, right? It's not to like walk up to them. It's to shoot them from somewhere that it's to snipe them, man.
Right, like ninja-y.
Yeah, so
Catch them off guard.
Yeah, I'm gonna dial my critical strikes and my marksmanship up, and use bow attacks.
That's wild.
And like preparations and stuff. Yeah.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah, so that's what I'm going for. Now, before you come at me in the comments, I do understand that this is a suboptimal way to play the game. Like, there's no build, like, you can't go on PVX Wiki and find, like, Assassin Ranger crit bow build. It's not there because it's not that good, right? Mm-hmm. I just personally think it's going to be fun to roleplay. So that's what I'm going to go for. And if I get to a point where it's, like, untenable, then I'll just pick up some daggers.
Right.
Because,
well, I mean, you also did the warrior playthrough for Prophecies on a hammer.
I did, yeah, and I did it pretty suboptimally with hammer too. Because if you're really playing hammer properly, you're going to go over to Nightfall and grab a whirlwind attack, right? And not doing that was a huge handicap for me because that's a disgusting skill. Yeah. So yeah, I don't mind playing the game underpowered. Like I've got a powerful account already. I've done all that. I think it's a lot more interesting to play like a really silly sniper assassin bow build. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I do have a pet again. He's a tiger and he's named Greg.
Greg?
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah, Greg the tiger shall be accompanying me. He might get upgraded to a white tiger if I find one who will also be named Greg, possibly Greg the Second.
That's great.
Yeah, so we'll see. There is a tamer outside of Xingje that I can give my tiger to, so he'll have a good home if I ever get a different pet. Right. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing. Tell me about your experience doing all those profession quests.
So it took a long time, but what I try to do and you'll see in my footage, that what I try to do is I don't play them all straight through each profession. I locate. I'm like, all right, here are the first groupings that you have to talk to for every single one. They're all in the same map. Cool. Let's just find which ones are closest and then work our way through them.
You're doing these in bulk. Like I'm
doing them in bulk. Yes.
This is business.
Yes. And so this is my efficient way of trying to get through the insanity. And then you go to the next set of like you speak to the headmaster. Great. Then you got to go locate whoever, and then you got to do their little questy thing, and then you got to track down whoever, and then do their little questy thing. So I try to clump them up by location and tackle them that way so that I'm not running around as much.
Right. That makes sense. This is purely transactional. This is time invested for XP earned. Exactly.
Yes. Farming that XP.
Well, and the reason we want to farm that XP is, did you try to do the insignia quest for your profession?
I did that as well at the end of my playthrough.
Yeah, so when you get this instruction from Togo to go get a second profession, you also get directed to Instructor Ning, who who has a series of quests you can do with him that are like advanced tutorial stuff, and you can earn the insignia for your profession. So mine would be the assassin insignia. Assassin insignia. That's harder to say than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And it's kind of awarded to you by your headmaster once you complete all this stuff for Instructor Ning. These are kind of hard.
Yeah.
So I'm like level 6 when I'm going into these, and the enemies you have to fight are like level 10.
Yes, because they're all of the homies that you had to run around with and train with.
Mm-hmm. So which ones did you have to do for this?
For Ritualist, I had to do condition removal, disruption, skill chaining, and advanced defense techniques.
Okay. I had to do disruption and skill chaining. I don't remember if I did advanced. It was defense techniques, the one where it gives you a defensive skill and you have to survive for 2 minutes.
I believe that is the one. Yes.
Yeah, I did have to do that one. I couldn't. I was too low level to like beat the 2 level 10 instructors, so I bought a skill from the skill trainer called Dash, which is just for 2 seconds you move 50% faster and has like a 5-second recharge. And I just ran around in a circle spamming Dash, and I beat it that way.
That's good.
Yes. And then I had to do, the hardest one for me was one called Disenchantment.
Yes.
Did you have to do this one?
I did.
Holy shit! This one is awful.
It's annoying as hell. And
it's badly designed, is what it is.
Oh my gosh! I was like trying to stay away, and then trying to get close to disenchant. And it was just a pain in my butt.
Well, because what skill do they have the enemy use that you have to remove the enchantment?
Oh, it's some monk skill.
It's a skill called Life Sheath.
Yes.
And it's an insta-cast skill. And it's a skill that it basically like heals them. It's like reversal of fortune on steroids, basically. Yeah. It gives you like a big heal when you get hit by an attack. And so not only does it cast very quickly, it also triggers very quickly.
Yeah.
Right. And I have less control on this because I have a pet. Right. So my pet's just like, ding. So I'm finding this very difficult to remove. So what I ended up doing is just, since my attacks are very meaty and hit very hard, I was trying, instead of disenchanting it, because they give me like this 10 energy disenchant skill that has like a 30-second recharge, is useless. Because you can spam, because the enemy can spam this Life Sheath skill.
Right.
So disenchanting it is not, it's a bad disenchantment tutorial. But I end up letting my pet do the attack that will trigger the heal. So my pet only hits for like 2 damage, so that like doesn't matter. And then hitting him with my big hits. And I got a very, very, very lucky interrupt with distracting shot on it as well, and was able to kill him that way. But it took me like 4 tries. Very, very poorly designed disenchantment tutorial. They chose the worst skill to demonstrate enchantments.
Yes. And I think when I realized that I didn't actually need it, because I was using it because they gave me Shudder Enchantment, which is the Mesmer skill, since I had the secondary Mesmer already by then. When I realized I actually didn't need it for the Ritualist thing, I was like, well, I'm doing it then. I'm not going to finish it. Screw this.
Yeah, I thought I had to do all of them, so I did all of them, but I probably didn't have to do all of them. I managed to get through them. I did actually, so I started trying to do these at like level 6. I went and got another level before I came back and did them because it was like too hard. So I went and did that, and that's when I decided to ditch the daggers and go for the bow. And I had a little bit better, because like the bow build is working out because I finally got the critical eye skill. I got it as a reward for doing those assassin insignia quests, and that just raises your crit rate. So now I'm critting with the bow like quite a bit. And that's good. Like with the preparations up and stuff, my auto attacks do like 50 damage. It's great.
Nice.
Yeah. So hitting pretty hard with the bow for being level 8. So the bow build is like working out so far. I think I'll see diminishing returns from it as the game goes on. But for now, it's fun. So I got my insignia. Did you do any side quests like out in the world, out and about?
I did a few. Because again, I was like, oh, there's a quest out here. I did a belt pouch, which that just gives you a belt pouch, and it's pretty easy.
Yeah, there's like a fur... like a tanner guy in the city.
Yeah. It's like, can you go get me some stuff from
Nian the Tanner?
Yeah.
Yeah, he sends us to get materials because he needs a very specific kind of leather to make his belt pouches. And the herder he sends us to, who's over in Penjing Peninsula at one of the farming villages, has us go kill some Crimson Skull that have been harassing him before he can hook us up with the goods.
Yeah.
Reasonably basic quest, but you get a belt pouch out of it.
You do. Which I didn't actually need, but I wanted the XP, so I did it.
Yeah, I might hook myself up with some runes of holding too, because I think I did that on my last character, and now I'm very used to the full inventory, and I don't like having a small inventory. Yeah.
Yeah. And I also picked up, I talked to that, I think it's that one farmer guy that you can talk to it when you first come into Penjing Peninsula. What is his name? Blanking on his name. By Wenga. No, this is a different guy. Wenga's he's involved with some warrior things, I think, later on. But anyway, he gave me the crop thieves quest.
I don't think I did this quest.
Yeah, you just go and you kill some 3 crop thieves. They're all like level 3 or something. Crimson Skull kids, and they're just out hanging out by the Res Shrine, which is convenient in case you can't kill them. And they're basically trying to steal the crops from the farmers, because if you, like we talked about earlier, when you zone into this area, you see that the Crimson Skull are threatening the farmers, and the farmers like, do your worst. So they just keep trying to send people to mess with the villagers or with the farmers.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I did not do that. I did not find that one. I had a bit of a fun time with the Ranger secondary profession quest, actually. So you probably did the one where you have to get the rabbits out of the traps.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, so the way Headmaster Greco sends us out to find Sujin, his Ranger apprentice. And Sujin says an unscrupulous hunter has been using live rabbits to try and catch a Yeti. And he says the scent is attracting unpleasant enemies that are attacking travelers, and I need to go take care of it. Also, the game says target is not an animal when I try to charm animal on a rabbit. Just wanted to point that out.
Oh, well, that's good.
Rabbits are not animals, apparently.
No, you can't go around with a bunny.
But since you didn't take Ranger, did you do the follow-up quest to this about the Yeti?
The Yeti hunt?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that one.
Did you notice that Zoe said... So you go find Zoe for this.
Yeah.
And Zoe says that she's been trying to catch the Yeti with rabbit traps.
Yes.
Zoe is the hunter that Sujin is cleaning up after. She's the one trying to catch the Yeti with the live rabbit traps.
Right.
I thought that was funny.
Yeah. No, they do a really good job of throwing in some good flavor, some good humor between the NPCs in these secondary profession quests. Like, you've got this one with Zoe who's like screwing up on using the rabbits and screwing up Sujin's rabbit cause. You run into some necromancer. If you do the necromancer ones, you've got a brother and a sister. One of them thinks that the other one is useless, and they're just like, "Oh God, my brother sent you. Great, you're gonna be useless too."
Yeah, I didn't talk to the necros. That's funny though. That's good. Yeah, they have a lot of the NPCs know each other. In there's this vibe of like everyone at Xingje kind of knows each other. Yeah, and that's a vibe that doesn't come across a lot in Ascalon and Prophecies, whereas here it's. All the characters seem to know each other, which is kind of cool. Yeah. There's a lot of character interaction. Did you make it? So I know you made it to Sume Village since you've been to Panjiang Peninsula. Yes. There's a collector there who wants Tengu scalps. And he just doesn't like Tengu. He doesn't have an interesting story. He's like, my father fought in the Tengu Wars, and he doesn't buy the peace accord, and he would like us to go scalp Tengu.
Right. That's very good.
I didn't run into any hostile Tengu in this playthrough, did you?
No.
Yeah, they're out there. We'll encounter them later in the game. But for now, no hostile Tengu to scalp.
Actually, I think I take that back. I think I did in the snowy area.
I don't think I went that deep into the snowy area, so I don't think I encountered them.
I had to go and do the monk quests out there.
Oh, okay. What was the monk quest? What happened there?
So the monk quest, Headmaster Amara, the monk, she sends you out to locate Sister Tai, and she's out in Sume Village. And wait, is she the one or something? No, there's one where you have to go out and practice healing, which you can do by healing the warriors that you're tasked to heal, or you can just take out the other warrior that they're fighting, or let your party kill them. I tried to play the game the way it was designed, and so here I am trying to heal. And then she sends you out to track down Brother Peiwan, who's the guy that we were talking about in that disenchantment thing. He's the one who casts things on himself. And Brother Peiwan is out at a temple, and he's apparently been, like, hexed, and he is harassing and scaring people. And so you have to go and save him.
So that's funny, actually. So he's just, like, being a crazy man out on the sidewalk harassing people.
You basically have to, like, disenchant whatever hex is on him for him to like regain his mind. And that once you like successfully disenchant his hex spell, then he's feeling better, and he's like, thanks. And then Brother Peiwan, he sends you out later on a quest called Seeking a Cure. And I found this one to be the most interesting because it's got some foreshadowing in it.
Okay, what happens here?
So he says, Amara is looking for natural ingredients to cure a strange illness. Headmaster Amara has foreseen that a sickness will come to Cantha soon, a plague that will turn even the meek into raging monsters that kill anything they see. Headmaster Amara is never wrong. And I was like, dude, how do they bury this little foreshadowing moment into this little side quest? That unless you are picking up for the monk, either secondary or primary, you're gonna just miss it.
See, monks are wise. That's why they sprinkle that kind of stuff in
it was
there.
really cool. I liked it.
Yeah, monks are wise. So we're gonna see if that plays out.
Mm-hmm. I probably mixed up a couple of the quests here, to be honest. I think I mixed up some of the Mesmer and the monk ones, but the Mesmer ones I think is the one where you have to go and disenchant Brother Peiwan. So once we save him, then he can tell us to go seek the cure. Would
it have been a disenchant or would it have been a hex removal? Would have been a hex removal. Right? So it was probably a monk. It was probably a monk quest.
Yeah.
Might have been a Mesmer quest. I didn't do them.
It was Shatter Hex, so I had to go and.
So that would be a Mesmer.
Sorry, I even mixed up my brothers. Dude, I did a lot of quests. I lost my mind.
Yeah, no, you did an undertake because there's 8 professions in factions because there's only 6 in prophecies. There's 2 new ones here, so we're 8. So you did like 8 sets of profession quests.
Yes.
What state of mind were you in after you finished that?
I was very tired and my brain was mush.
Yeah, no, I did not do that for that specific reason. But hey, you're very high level now.
Yeah, and it was all for science for the podcast. So hey.
Yeah, and now you can handle anything at this point. Let's see. I did a quest called Appearance of the Naga. Did you do this?
Yes, I did.
After you hit a certain level threshold, or after you get your insignia or something, this will be available from Captain Xinghu in Xingje. It's not available before like a certain point. I don't remember when it became available, but once I played the game a little bit, this was available. And he basically says that Naga have been sighted. Now, Naga, if we want to talk about some of the enemies that are running around, Naga are like snake people. Yes. They are like centaurs, but snake instead of horse. Yes. They have like slithery body. They're like the Forgotten, but they don't have the cobra hoods. They're just regular snakes. They're like low grade Forgotten. And they're wandering around. There's mantids, which are like little. I mean, they're not little. They're giant, like beetle dudes. They're like giant bugs. Yeah. There's yetis. We had to kill one for that ranger quest. Yep. The yeti was level 10, but it was very easy because there was like us and Zoe all
there
DPSing.
Was also a red yeti that's like level 12.
Yeah, I saw that. I did not fight the red yeti. I saw it in the distance, and I decided that would be a bad idea.
He's really easy.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I'm glad it was easy. Probably pretty low armor. Because they're just. Yeah. They're just. I was
like, he's level 12. Why am I killing him at like level 5? I think I ran into him when I was like level 5, and I was like, I think I remember killing this guy before. Let's try.
Yeah, I feel like high level enemies were a little bit more difficult in prophecies relative to your level. Because I remember, like, even having a full party, like a level 8, thing would be hard if I was like level 5. The factions might be balanced a little differently.
Yeah, and if you're going out with the henchmen out of Sume Village, they're level 6, whereas if you walk out from Xingje, they're level 3. So
yeah, I found myself.
Sume, it's good.
Yeah, I found myself leaving from Sume a few times, even though the walk is longer because you get the higher level henchmen. Yeah. The enemy I fought the most, because the mantids are not hostile. You can run past them. They're like level 1 and they're not hostile. They'll only fight you if you attack them. The enemies I had to fight the most were kappas.
Yes, they're annoying.
So much kappa fighting. It's like 50% of my footage. Kappas are like little turtle people. They're like a small dinosaur with a turtle shell.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how else to describe them. They're hostile turtles that walk on two legs and cast water magic at you. And you can pick up their shells and give them to collectors.
Yep.
And they come in the level 1 and the level 6 variety. And they're not that hard. They're just kind of there.
Yeah.
But there's lots of them.
You. Yeah. Yes, and if you find a clump of them, then you're like, dang it.
Yeah, there's
hordes
hordes
deal
of
with
them.
These Kappa. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we also had to deal with Crimson Skull, who are like the local gangsters. And they've got, they got rangers and assassins and ritualists and monks. And
they got all the things. Yeah. Now, there was one area that I ran into them in like Kenya province. I ran across the wrong bridge and I remembered that it was the wrong bridge. And I was like, I think this is the wrong bridge. I think this is a bad idea.
Did you run into the level 7 Crimson Skull?
I ran into guys that were like, I think they were higher than level 7. They were like level 12, but actually did stuff more than like the Yeti did. And it was I wiped. And I was like, well, I'll be going not across that bridge right now. I'll come back later.
Yeah.
And I'll go across the other bridge to go and find the Zoe and Panaku or whoever it was I was looking for out there.
Yeah, I saw them across the bridge and I checked their level and I saw how high they were and I was like, that's obviously not the right way. So I did not go that way.
I know. I was like, well, maybe. And then I was like, no, that's why you never went this way before, dum-dum.
Yeah, mistakes were made. But, I was able to...
learned.
Yeah, I was able to get through everything and able to avoid enemy groups that were beyond me for the most part. I don't think I had a party wipe. I probably did. It's probably in the footage. But I don't remember having like any significant... I think I double aggroed once and I got a party wipe, like double Crimson Skull.
Yeah.
But I did do this quest called The Appearance of the Naga. And Captain Xinghu at the Xingje Monastery basically says they've been sighted near Zennai Falls, which is like a major water source for all of Cantha, apparently. So even though Xingje Island is an island, it's like off the coast of mainland Cantha. Apparently the river from these falls like goes underground to Cantha, and it like supplies most of Kaining City with water. So it's like a big deal if the Naga are taking over this little water treatment area. Yes. So he sends me to speak with Sister Choi at Sume Village. Yep. And he says she's an expert on like the area. And she is. If you go talk to her, she like has little bits of things to say about everywhere in like the nearby areas pretty much. So she's the one that tells me that it's a water source for all of Cantha, and you basically you go kill the Naga there. There's a bunch of Naga there. There's a lot of them. There's like some level 6 ones. They're scary. But it's not too bad. This was like one of the last quests I did, so I was like level 7 or 8 doing this, so it was pretty chill. Cool. So we saved the Canthan water supply.
Yep.
It was handy. That was most of what I did. I talked to a lot of the collectors, which I thought was pretty funny. Did you get assaulted by a lesser Oni at any point?
No.
Yeah, level 9 lesser Oni will spawn randomly occasionally. This happened to me in Penjiang Peninsula. So the Oni are like these gray demon guys with tentacle beards. They look kind of like Davy Jones from Pirates of the Caribbean. Except like a very eldritch cursed version.
Yeah.
And yeah, they just random spawn in and they're assassins and they like wail on you. They're not hard. They spawn like one at a time. And they'll get higher level as we go through the game. So there will be like level 28 ones spawning near the end of the game. Yeah, you just randomly get attacked by demons sometimes in Cantha. I
mean, it's all part of the flavor, right?
What
could be happening?
Yeah, it's a real party. It's a real party over in Cantha. Yeah. That was mostly what I did throughout everything. There was a collector near a portal in Kenya province that mentioned that there's some sort of plague going around. But so far the story hasn't mentioned anything about that to me. So no. I just shrug my shoulders at that guy and move on with my life.
Yeah. And then, so at this point then, did you go talk to, or did you go accompany Master Togo again?
Yeah, so when Togo orders us to get a second profession, he also mentions that he needs us once we do that. We I don't think we have to do it, but he strongly recommends we go get a second profession and earn our insignia before we accompany him to meet Minister Cho at his estate. So I'm like, okay, the game wants me to take this path, so I will. But I think you can just like blow off the second profession and go to Master Cho's estate at like level 4 if you want to. So that's what I did. I followed him. You leave the portal, and it'll be him and Yijo Tan, and you kind of just take like a stroll.
Yeah, pretty much.
Up the hill to Minister Cho's estate.
Yeah.
And there's basically he takes his most promising recruits every like year or whatever to meet the minister, and we're it, and Yijo Tan is it.
Yep.
So in like a couple days, we've reached like Yijo Tan caliber.
Yes.
I'd like to think Yijo is like sweating. He's like, fuck.
Yes.
Gotta step it up.
Right.
So there's a cutscene when we get to Minister Cho's estate.
Yes.
What happens?
So we talk to guardsman Zui, and as we're chatting, the gate opens, and all of a sudden we see the rest of Minister Cho's guards running amok, trying to kill each other. And then somebody comes over to tell Zui, hey, something's wrong, everybody's they're going crazy. And we witness one guard kill another. Zui then has to fend off one that tries to kill him. We join in the fight. This all happens in the cutscenes. We don't have to actually press any buttons. We have no idea what chaos we've stumbled on. And then once we've, helped Zui defend himself, he basically begs Master Togo to go and figure out what's going on and to save his son, who happens to be in the estate right now. Somewhere.
Yes. And during this cutscene, I feel like the voice acting has regressed.
Yeah, just a tad. Just a tad.
This is truly wretched.
Ah, Master Togo, I did not know you were here. The minister has been waiting for you. Please, you are welcome here.
Like, in terms of voiceover work, it's so awful. There's a lot of bizarre stuff that happened for me in this cutscene. I'm wondering if you saw the same things I did. When the guard got stabbed from behind, what was he stabbed with in your cutscene?
I thought it was a sword.
So in my cutscene, and I'll play this on the screen, he's stabbed with what appears to be a stick. And the guard is holding the stick like a sword and like doing sword attack animation.
Yes.
And
yes,
it's just a stick.
I did get that as well. Yeah, so some kind of thing. It's a pokey stick, apparently.
What the hell is the deal with this?
Something weird is happening.
Oh, that's such a it's so strange. It's super, super, super weird.
I hope that it was that they forgot to skin the stick.
It must have been something like that, and they just never fixed it.
And they never fixed it. Otherwise, we've got some enchanted sticks that actually do big, sharp, pointy damage.
Yeah, Minister Cho staffs his estate with stick-wielding guards.
Yeah.
So yeah, the weird voice acting and the stick just made for super super strange cutscene experience.
Yeah.
But once we get through that, the game does spawn us in the Minister Cho's estate mission outpost. And we've reached our first mission.
Yep.
Which is where we are leaving it off for the episode. We have sunk our teeth into factions. We've started it. We've gotten the ball rolling.
Yep.
What do you think so far? Prophecies. We did a lot more starter stuff in factions than we did in Prophecies. I think we really kind of glazed over pre-searing in Prophecies. We did, yeah. I feel like we could have played a few more of the quests out there. There's a lot of quests in pre-searing. Yeah. I think it's interesting because I almost think pre-searing's a little juicier as a starter area. But there's a lot better tutorialization in factions. Yes. Factions is more focused as a gameplay tutorial, whereas Prophecies is much more of a story and lore tutorial. Right. Yeah. So there's different merits to each one. I think the leveling pace in Prophecies is a little sloggy, but over the course of the game, I think it's better. Whereas, like beelining you to level 20 like Factions does, I don't know if I like that so much.
And I think it probably was a design choice because it was the second campaign in the franchise.
Well, and they wanted players to be able to get up to speed, essentially.
Right, yeah. They probably were like, well, we're probably going to have most of our players coming in as veterans of prophecies, so why bog them down?
Well,
just let them
the way the missions work when you get to the end of not the end of the game, but like midway through the game, and you get to where you'll be meeting up with people coming in from the other campaigns.
Yeah.
They want you to be level 20 by then so that you can do those missions with those people.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're going to kind of see how that works, and it's really strange that they don't continue it in Nightfall, probably because it didn't work super well.
Right.
But it's an interesting idea, so we'll see that when that comes. But yeah, we're going to get to level 20 very fast before we leave Xinjie, I'm pretty sure. And then they did dial it back a little bit in Nightfall, so Nightfall is much faster leveling than Prophecies, but it's not as accelerated as Factions. So I think Nightfall, they kind of find the happy medium.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll kind of dig into that as we go. But yeah, we're going to be doing the Minister Chose Estate to start next episode. We'll probably play a little past that as well. I'll kind of see, kind of play it by ear, see where we're going to stop. I don't have Factions memorized like I have Prophecies, so I don't have as firm of a plan for going through it. But I'm kind of just going to play it and then see where we end up.
Mm-hmm.
So keep an eye out for that, guys. In the meantime, Miko, where can people find you on the internet?
The good people can find me at Inky Sticks on platforms like Twitter, YouTube, etc.
Perfect. And you can go ahead and hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Follow our channels on Spotify and Apple Podcasts if you're listening there. If you have any opinions, thoughts, comments, go ahead and leave them for us. We will be more than happy to discuss things with you in the comments section. And we are at Tyria now on Twitter. Go ahead and give us a follow. And if you have anything to say to us there, we'll always respond to you there as well. Until next time, guys, that's going to be it for us. So go ahead and give us all our social media follows and follow Miko on hers. And we'll see everybody next time.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Hi, everyone. This is Aaron in the edit. I'm probably going to pop this in at the beginning and the end of the episode just so nobody misses it. We are planning on doing a bonus content live stream on twitch.tv/Tyria now on Wednesday, September 25th. That should be 2 days after this goes up. We'll be doing some of the endgame quests for Prophecies. So if you want to check that out, we'll probably be doing some of the Titan quests. Go ahead and stop by twitch.tv/Tyria now. Give us a follow so you'll know when it goes live and you'll be able to hang out with us while we do that. So that's September 25th. That's a Wednesday. It's going to be at 7 p.m. Pacific time and 10 p.m. Eastern time. Go ahead and give us a follow there, and we will see you at the live stream. See you guys.